was dying, Trotsky was offered this little rest. So he wasn't informed in time to attend the funeral. If you're not seen as one of the pallbearers, then you are not in line for the succession. So Trotsky made these terrible mistakes. He underestimated Stalin, of course, that was the main thing.
Trotsky doesn't have the kind of people skills that Stalin has. He doesn't suffer fools gladly. His manner is often quite sort of haughty and offhand. He dominates people by his intellect rather than with his charm.
Listen closely. History repeats itself.
I think great strength is that he's a people person, and Trotsky has no real interest in bureaucracy. Stalin is the consummate bureaucratic operator. Trotsky delivers these great rhetorical flourishes at party congresses, but he's making arguments increasingly to people who owe their position within the party hierarchy to Stalin.
The present crisis will mean a new era in history.
Stalin had the support of the secret police. And when Lenin died and you had a new economic policy, it was clear that Russia was not going to fight any wars. Trotsky wanted to fight wars with Germany and China. And it was perfectly clear that Stalin would want to eliminate all forms of opposition. So there were jobs for the secret police, but no jobs for the Red Army. He didn't keep his eye on the ball the way that Stalin did or Lenin had.
He was the silent, looming presence. At a Stalin meeting, you had to clap at the end of it when he was dictator. And if you stopped clapping, you might be hauled off and shot. And so the clapping could last half an hour. This was the way he operated. And so it is a kind of anti-charisma, if you like, the plain dress, the silent presence, the stare. You read into it what you will. This was possible. People could believe he was an avuncular figure. People could believe he was a benevolent figure. He just didn't say.
Leon Trotsky learned the hard way not to underestimate a devious schemer like Stalin. But he wasn't the first Russian to make such a mistake. Russian history is filled with schemers who have plotted their way into power. The most incredible of all being Catherine I, wife of Peter the Great, who became
Kamala?
empress in her own right.
Some coups are really extraordinary, and the one that, for me, is the most extraordinary is perhaps Catherine I, an example of social climbing that I've never witnessed any time else in history.
Catherine I, there are various stories. The most likely one is that she was a small girl captured by the Russian army when he invaded the Baltic, and she was handed over to a Lutheran pastor.
She's believed to be a sort of semi-literate Livonian peasant who sort of caught Peter's eye. I mean, I think that's probably fairly undistinguishing characteristic. An awful lot of women caught Peter's eye.
She saved Peter the Great. She saved the entire Russian army. She probably saved Russia when Peter the Great had one of his big disasters.